Let's talk about the game yesterday.
History's being made. We're living in history. The first time ever Spurs have been top and Arsenal been bottom.
Wow.
And it's on the same week.
Wow. So I was asking that on the watch along yesterday, and everyone was just bringing random years out.
Yeah, no, it's
so
history.
I was thinking that must be the kind of only time it's happened. But you were at the game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
How was the receptions for Sissoko, Rose, Kane? I mean, from what I'm hearing and the footage I saw, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I think they all got really good receptions. I think Sissoko and especially Danny Rose, when he was going warming up and down the touchline, and especially after the game, he got a really good reception from the Spurs faithful. They were really glad to see him back. Danny Rose seemed like he'd come home. Danny Rose, in a weird way, like when he was looking at the Spurs fans, everything, he just seemed like he was like coming back home after like being a little away for a long time somewhere. That sort of feeling it was with him.
I don't know if you saw, Miche. I don't know if you saw his Instagram story a few days ago, last week. He was at the Watford game in the Cup when Danny Rose got man of the match.
Yeah, okay.
And after the game, it was like him and his mates were outside the Watford ground, and Danny Rose comes and walks out, and he's filming him, and he's going up to Danny Rose, going, "Oh, Danny, you're Spurs, and you're and blah all that." And Danny just walks up to him and walks past him, goes, "Yeah, of course, always Spurs."
Yeah, and I think. You got to remember he was at Tottenham for a very long time. Nearly 13, 14 years he was at Tottenham, Danny Rose. So it's always going to be a big place.
Is that long? 13, 14 years?
It's 2007.
Wow.
Yeah, from Leeds. So he got a really good reception. Sissoko, everyone was chanting his name, although the biggest chant, I think, for Sissoko when he ballooned that shot from 25 yards into the top tier. And they were like, okay, and then that's when he got the biggest chant of the day, Sissoko. But he got a really good reception at the end of the game. And it was, again, a bit of a shock maybe to see him start the game after signing on Friday. You would have thought that... the deadline would have passed and everything, and I don't know how Spurs allowed that to happen, but whatever, it happened, and he did start the game. He didn't play badly, actually, I thought, Sissoko. I thought he had a decent game.
I thought Skip did a good job on him, though.
Yeah, I agree. Skip did a great job on him, but we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, he got a great reception. And Harry Kane, also, I think everyone was only a couple of one of our own chants throughout the game, but I thought he also, especially at the start of the game, got a really good reception back in the stadium.
I saw he was clapping the fans when his name was called out on the tannoy. So look, good day all round. But let's get into assessing the game. I mean, it wasn't the greatest game of football, was it? Let's be honest. I thought the first half. It's becoming a bit of a theme at the moment, isn't it? First half with kind of lackadaisical, and then second half we come to play. But even though I know we definitely deserved to win the game, it was total domination yesterday. But we didn't do as much as I expected us to do, and I thought Watford really stifled us with their low block system, and they did well defensively. They held in tight as a unit, didn't they?
Yeah, it was tough, and not only that, for Ismaila Sarr, the only way we could stop him was fouling him. We must have fouled him about 6 or 7 times throughout the whole game.
I thought he was dangerous at the beginning. He gave Reguilon a bit of trouble at the beginning, but then after like 20 minutes, I thought he didn't do much.
Yeah, because we kept fouling him.
Yeah,
that's why we were sharing the yellow cards around, fouling Ismaila Sarr. I thought he was a big threat throughout the game. The only way we stopped him pretty much was illegally, pretty much. I thought Watford sat very, very deep. We did well to control possession as much as we did, because I thought Watford actually had some tricky players on their hands. I think their front three looked tricky at times, especially when we're getting in on our back four. I thought we defended very resolutely and very well. Watford, I can't remember too many really clear-cut opportunities they had. The closest they probably came was right at the beginning, when I think if Dyer doesn't clear that, I had a good chance of going into the corner. I thought it was a really good clearance from Dyer. But
it was on the line, goal line clearance.
Pretty much. That was right at the start of the game. So I thought that was a good moment for him. But yeah, again, Watford didn't have too many chances. But I think Spurs, for all our domination, we created some chances, but you just felt like in the centre with Skip, Højbjerg and Dele, as much as I thought Skip and Højbjerg, in terms of what their job role was for that game, I think they had a really good game. But in terms of what we needed in that game to really help open up Watford and help the chance creation point of view, I don't think they had enough in their game in that instance to kind of really force Watford to ask them too many questions. It was too predictable a lot of the time. And that proves the only goal we scored was a bit of luck. The ball went straight through for a free kick. It was a good free kick, but there was luck to get into the back of the net. And apart from that, in the first half anyway, because second half I did think we created a few more clear-cut chances, but first half we struggled, and you would have thought, you know, we could have really done with Lo Celso or an Ndombele yesterday in that kind of game.
I was saying that yesterday. I was saying that this game is crying out for Ndombele.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's the one that can really kind of pick through the eye of the needle and find out those players. But, you know, sometimes they had like 8 players in the line at the back.
That was the thing. That was the thing, especially in the box. I thought they crowded us out really effectively. There was a number of times, you know, it was probably the most times this season so far with the most touches we've had in the box. We had a lot of touches in the box. We just couldn't break them down.
Yeah.
We couldn't get shots off. I think Son didn't quite look as comfortable on the right as he usually does on the left. But I actually think Bergwijn played fairly well. I didn't think he was that bad on the left hand side. I think he was, you know, the substitution was right at the time.
I thought Bergwijn was our best attacker yesterday,
especially in the first half. I think it was right to sub him off and get Lucas on. But I think he was one really showing for the ball, taking people on, looking to make things happen, trying to get shots off and stuff like that. So I didn't have any beef maybe with the front three selection. I think he got that right.
I kind of did though. I kind of did, because I felt that with the kind of low block and no space that Watford were affording us down there, I thought maybe it was more suited to a Hill or a Mora to play instead of Bergwijn and move Sonny back over to the left. I mean, I had no problem with Bergwijn's performance whatsoever, but I felt that just it wasn't suited to him, because Bergwijn needs a lot of space sometimes, and I felt that, you know, maybe Hill or Mora getting the ball to feet and beating a few men with like little space, I thought it might have suited them a bit more.
But you got to say, bringing on Mora with 20 minutes, whatever it was, half an hour to go.
He played well, yeah.
Yeah, he was unbelievable when he came on. He was brilliant, and that's something I've criticised Lucas for a few times, where I feel like sometimes when he comes on off the bench, he doesn't make enough of an impact, which he should be. When he's got the dribbling ability he has against tiring legs, he's hard to stop even at the beginning of the game when defenders are fresh. When defenders in the latter part of the game, and he's fresh, Lucas Moura should be, you know, creating chance after chance, and that's what he was doing yesterday. He was giving their fullback a torrid time off the bench, and he really should have probably got an assist or two when he came on.
We need to be more clinical, man. We need to be more clinical. We're nowhere near clinical enough. I mean, Harry Kane, that chance of the back post, I mean, he gobbles those up for fun usually. Complete open goal at the back post. I think Dele Alli had a few chances he could have scored. I mean, there was that one moment in the game, I don't know if you remembered, it was shaping up to be a carbon copy of Dele's goal against Watford at White Hart Lane last season at White Hart Lane. Do you remember that goal? When he curled it, but then he just mishit it and it went to the near post and it went just wide. I mean, just moments like that where you know you've got better quality on the ball and we just weren't producing that. I just feel like we should have been a lot more clinical than we were yesterday with Sonny as well.
Yeah, well, the chances, especially as you say in the second half, that Dele's chance and Kane as well. I think I don't want to blame him too much for the one at the back post, because obviously the defender clearly got a big touch on that.
Yeah.
But the one just after that, he had a really good chance from a corner straight away, a few seconds later, and didn't quite hit it so cleanly. I was watching a bit of the show. I was trying to call in actually the show yesterday,
I called in after the game.
I was trying, for some reason, it just wouldn't let me on my phone. I had Wirecast Go, whatever, I'll explain after, but I tried to call in and wouldn't let me. But I was seeing the criticism coming in for Harry Kane on the show, and I didn't agree with it. I didn't think he was that bad. Look, he didn't have his best game. I can obviously acknowledge that. It wasn't his best game, but I wouldn't say he was poor. I don't think he was poor. I think it was first of all, he was starved of a lot of service, and I think when he did drop deep, I thought he was actually pretty good with his passing range again. And I don't like all this criticism like he slows down our play and stuff like that. I didn't think that yesterday. I think Watford slowed down our play. I don't think it was Kane slowing down our play.
Yeah.
I don't think having Son, Bergwijn and Lucas yesterday would have helped the situation.
When you have John heading the fan show, these are the conversations that happen.
Yeah, I guess. So I don't know. I thought it was a bit odd.
But it was interesting because we had a lot of people calling in. Jory was on the same thinking as John, and he was saying that when you compare our play to what it was against Man City, and stuff like that.
It's a different game.
Of course, it's a different game,
and
Watford stifled us completely. They had 8 men. They had 11 men behind the ball at all times, apart from the first 15 minutes where they actually came out the blocks and tried to attack us. Apart from that, they had 11 men behind the ball all the time, and they had 8 men in a row on the back line. So, I mean, it was impossible to get through. It was impossible. And that's why I thought maybe Moura or Hill would have been more suited to the game.
Yeah, but what, ahead of Bergwijn?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you need, in that kind of game, you need someone like Kane on the pitch. You need someone like Kane because you need someone who's ruthless just in case something drops to him or anything like that. And, with his passing ability as well, because we lack so much creativity, I felt, in the centre of the park. With his passing ability, you need him dropping deep and doing that kind of role as well. So, maybe we could have done with a Hill or a Lucas potentially on the wing. But I didn't understand. I didn't think Kane was a problem at all yesterday. And if it wasn't
I don't think he was great. I mean, if I'm going to give him a rating, it'll be like 5 or 6 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get more than that.
Yeah,
you can't get more than that.
But I don't think he was I don't think he was causing us any problems. Him being on the pitch or anything like that. I think this criticism of him slowing down our play wasn't anything to do with what happened yesterday.
I agree. I completely agree.
In those kind of games, we definitely could do with more of a better, more creative midfield, and that could have helped us. But what I do want to say is I want to give massive props to Sanchez, because I thought Sanchez was brilliant. I gave him my man of the match, and I thought everything at the back he was gobbling up. He was dominant in the air. He was so strong. Defensively, he was on point, and on the ball as well. He was doing some unbelievable switches of play. He was doing some great passing. He was confident. He was really hard at the pitch. He was pressing. There was
channeling
even moments,
his inner Andrea Pirlo. That's what he was doing.
There was even moments he was halfway in Watford half, challenging for headers and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is a confident new Sanchez I'm seeing. And look, I don't want to say, okay, this guy is going to be our centre back now. And for like the next few years, but I definitely want to say he started the season brilliantly, and based on what I'm seeing right now, then I can understand why Tottenham are being maybe more hesitant than at the start of the window to splash big money on a new centre back.
Because at the end of the day, look, Sanchez has looked like a bit of a different player this season, as someone just mentioned in the comments there. That's definitely true, but there's always those lapses of concentration that will let us down, and I think that when you're looking at his age, you're looking at the tools he has. That's why we were so angry and upset about him, because we can see he's got all the tools to be a top centre-back, and he's just doing these lapses of concentration that keep letting us down. Mm-hmm. If he can eradicate those from his game, we do have a top centre-back there. There's no two ways about it.
Maybe Nuno backs himself to do that, because he's clearly unlocked something out of Sanchez so
I've
far.
Never seen that passing from him before.
Never.
Ever.
His passing was used to be, he's been
one of his
woeful
weak
usually.
spots.
Yeah, biggest weak spot. His composure on the ball, lacking big time. But I thought he did really well yesterday. And Højbjerg as well, especially in the first half.
He was my man of the match.
His passing was really great, actually, Højbjerg, and I thought he played really well as well.
Yeah, I gave Højbjerg my man of the match. I was very impressed with him. I mean, his passing range, his tenacity, I mean, everything about his performance yesterday oozed class, man. I thought he was brilliant, Højbjerg. Mm-hmm. And I think look, Sanchez did play well yesterday, but he was fairly untested, let's be honest.
I don't think he was untested. I thought he played really well. I thought
he did play very well.
I think Watford on a breakaway, especially a few times, you need to be as dominant as we were yesterday. You need to make sure that when Watford have counter attacks, we're on point with our defending to win the ball back and make sure they're not getting anywhere. And I think Sanchez was a massive part of that.
Yeah, and so was Skippy and Højbjerg.
Yeah, they were. As I said, on their role, which they played in that aspect, they were great. They were really great. I can't fault them. But for a large part of the game when we did have possession, which was a large part of the game, I just felt, not Højbjerg especially, because I thought Højbjerg's passing was decent, but I just felt like they had good passing, but it wasn't kind of hurting Watford in a sense where, like, it wasn't really creative enough in and around the penalty area, which maybe is not their job. Maybe you've got to criticise Dele more for that, because maybe Dele's got to be in and around the penalty area and being more creative in that aspect. I think Skip and Højbjerg did their job. I do think so, but we needed a bit more guile. Yeah. That was the problem. Also, I must say, I thought Tanganga wasn't so good.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting, because I thought Tanganga was getting up and down the pitch really well. His crosses weren't really that good getting into the box, but I thought that he was always providing an option out on that right-hand side. I thought there was nothing wrong in his game defensively, in my opinion. And
defensively he was fine, but that's what I never have a problem with him defensively. I think he's a great defender.
Going forward, he was always an option. Then yes, his crosses were lacking in the box, but I thought it was still a good performance from him.
It wasn't just going forward. I think in general play, when he's an option. When he's an option to kind of build up and stuff like that, playing the passes to him from deep. His passing was loose. I felt he didn't look comfortable on the ball when he was asked to be on the ball. Like, that's the difference against Man City. He wasn't asked to be on the ball at all, really, or not much, and he's asked to pretty much defend all game, and that really suits him. I felt when he's purely defensive. But yesterday, yeah, he was an option. That's fine. But when you want to be a right back for Tottenham, I'm not saying he can't develop that side of his game. I'm sure he can, and we'll have to be patient in that side because he's still learning a new position. I just felt yesterday, when he was on the ball, I don't think he looked comfortable, and there was a few moments even where he had a chance to maybe charge into space from the right hand side, and he just didn't look comfortable. Felt like he didn't want to do it. He wanted to go back and pass it inside or pass it backwards. He didn't have the confidence to do that.
I've always felt though he doesn't look like a natural right back on the pitch.
Only offensively he doesn't.
Yeah.
I think he's fine defensively.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, you're right there. But
defensively,
every time you see him marauding up that right hand side, he never looks that comfortable.
That's what I'm
does
saying.
He? All the time, like not just yesterday, but like most games.
I just think in the modern day, when you need right backs to be very comfortable in the final third of the pitch and be able to contribute in build up and have a good crossing ability and passing ability, yeah, he was an option. He has good energy. He's really good in terms of overlapping and stuff like that. But it's just when he gets in those positions, I felt he was lacking a bit in offensively and a bit of quality on the ball, and that was just what I would say about Tanganga.
I agree with that, but I still think it was a good performance from him. I don't think it was like a terrible performance from Tanganga. I still think,
I never said he was terrible. I said he struggled offensively.
Yeah,
that's what he did.
He did.
That was the worry. That's why, like, if because it's like long term, if he's going to play that role for us as number one at the moment, Aurier is still here. Doherty's not going anywhere. We've got 2 days to find a right back. It looks like we are looking for one, but he might well be our number one right back this season. And if he is going to do that role on a regular basis, he needs to improve his quality on the ball.
The best right back of the club can't get a game, can't get on the bench.
Yeah,
because he's leaving, because he wants to leave. Mm-hmm. But I kind of got a feeling that Aurier and Ndombele are both. We'll get into Ndombele in a minute, but I got a feeling that Aurier is going to stay.
And leave on a free next year.
I don't see anyone that's going to pick him up. The one team that have come in for him, he doesn't want to go to.
Yeah, so it's going to be difficult, isn't it? It's going to be difficult.
We've got a super chat from Kieran Ingram. He's retracted the message, so thank you for the super chat anyway. Much love and love the support. What about Dele Alli yesterday? What did you make out of his performance?
Again, I thought off the ball, I thought it was great. Again, I thought he was doing all the right things. I just felt like I need to see him a bit more in the final third again. I did see him a bit more this time, but I don't know. Maybe it was just an off day for him finishing wise. He had that really great chance in the second half. He should have scored. He had a few moments to get shots off in the first half as well when, as you say, he was scuffing it, mishitting it and stuff like that. There weren't too many moments where he's playing little through balls or being really creative with his dribbling. So that side of the game, we know he's got it in his locker. He just didn't really produce it yesterday. So it's not going to something I'm going to say, he needs to improve on that, because we know when he's on top of his game that he has that. He has it in his locker to be a clinical finisher, exactly, and very creative as well. So I just want to see him bring that element back into his game. But again, I thought he was doing a really good selfless job for the team. So and that was it.
Are you worried at all with Spurs at the moment in terms of, look, Man City game aside, you can cast that game aside, but Wolves, very hard place to go in Molineux, but we only won via a penalty. And yesterday we only won via kind of a lucky goal that went through from a cross. Is that worrying you at all?
A bit. I would say that we saw yesterday Man United go to Wolves, and they had a tougher time probably than we did. To be fair, even though they also ended up with the victory. So can't take that for granted. That win and how. And I think we actually probably defensively gave away a lot less than United gave away yesterday, even though we both got the same result. So it's difficult one to judge. I think we need to be more clinical with our finishing. We need to be creating even more chances for our forwards, but I think what's really encouraging is the biggest problem with Tottenham last season was that our defensive solidity and how solid we were at the back, especially when leading. And what was our Achilles heel? Our biggest Achilles heel last season was holding on to 1-0 leads. holding on to 1-0 leads.
Yeah.
I don't think we hung on to one last season, pretty much. We only looked really comfortable when we were 2 goals up.
I think the only 1-goal lead we held on to was that Fulham game, right?
Yes, and even that we should have.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have. So, we only really looked comfortable at 2-0 last season, and this season we've started the season with 3-1-0 leads, 3-1-0 wins. So, I think he's trying to get that base right. He's trying to get that the back line correct and everyone working for each other, and then hopefully as the season progresses, as the fitness as we've seen, we're getting sharper and sharper each week, and I think second halves are continually finishing the game stronger. Like second half yesterday, we were much the better team. I
think in every second half we've played this season, it's been so much improved from the first half. It's mad.
Watford didn't have anything in the second half, not one thing. As I was saying about our start to the season, I'd like us to be more creative, and I'd like us to be creating more and more clinical, but I'm very happy with how solid we look as a team, and we look strong again. That aggression is back in the team, just like it was a few years ago. That's the most positive thing. We look like we're bullying oppositions again. We're suffocating them again, and that's the most positive thing for me. And I think it will come. That creation, all that kind of stuff. I think once we are settling into the season a bit more, I think that's going to come later on. But I think the foundations Nuno's building is very positive at the moment.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think the shape of the team looks really good. The mentality of the team looks really good. And I do think we're onto something good here. But I do feel that if we don't get these signings that we want from now until the end of the window, our squad is kind of really thin at the moment. And our second team is not great, and we saw that out in Portugal the other week.
That was more like a C team, though.
It was, but who was in the B team then? If that's the C team,
who's in it? I can't remember. To be honest, I'm trying to remember. I think in terms of backups, we're lacking the striking department. Probably could do with either. I think we need to sign either a striker or a winger before the window closes, ideally. I mean, ideally both, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers. So a striker or a winger, a right back, 100% a right back we need, and probably another centre mid.
Yeah,
that would be a perfect window. Unfortunately, we're not going to get all three. We're lucky if we get one of those at this point. And if I'm going to choose one priority, I have all of them, has to be a right back, because as much as I want to...
transfer window bloody closes tomorrow.
Yeah, as much as I want a centre midfielder, if the choices are banking on or getting the best out of Aurier and Doherty, or banking on getting the best out of Ndombele, I'm going to bank on getting the best out of Ndombele. I'd rather risk that.
Yeah.
So
in terms of order, I think it's top right back, second attacking midfielder, and bottom centre mid.
Yeah. So that would be my thing. Yeah. Well, I think still with Kane, we're going to be over reliant on Kane, and what I'm worried about is because our two strikers at the moment are pretty much Kane and Son. Right, what are we going to do in the Conference League? Are we going to play Scarlet?
Hopefully, I'd like to see Scarlet.
I don't think we will. I think we're going to play one of Kane or Son, and that's what I'm worried about. And I don't want us to be overplaying them and putting too many resources into that competition like that.
I would like to see Scarlet play.
I hope so. He did start Scarlet in the first leg, so maybe that's an indication of how he's going to use the competition. I'm praying that that's the case. What I'm worried about is what's going to happen is I'm just scared that, first game against like Rennes, away to Rennes, was it away to Rennes? Yeah. I think that's the first game, right?
Yeah,
they're not
next week, yeah.
Which is they're not like again, they're not farmer. This isn't a farmers league we're playing. This isn't like a Bulgarian team. This is like one of the top 6-7 teams in France, right? So they're no mugs. If we play a completely weakened team, they've got a decent chance of beating us. And what I'm worried about is they'll beat us. And I'll put more pressure on Nuno to try and have to get results in the other games, and then he's going to have to play Kane or Son when we have really important Premier League games coming up, and then they're going to suffer from a bit of burnout or something. That's what I'm worried about. That's why
Nuno's going to want to win this group as well, because it's more games if we finish second.
Exactly. So this is why even at this rate, we just re-signed Vinicius on loan to play
Apparently
the
he's
group
about
stages.
to go somewhere as well.
Yeah, look, he's not linked to us, but Vinicius did a great job last season in terms of just being there for the group stages.
Imagine
and
how many he'll get in the Conference League.
That's the thing. We need someone just to do that role, because I don't like if Scarlett doesn't hit the ground running and get a couple of goals or something in the first few group stage games, he's going to be forced to play Kane and Son again.
Yeah,
because we have no other option. and that's both frustrating.
I'd like to see him start with Scarlett in the first game, see how it goes, and then there's a lot of games to make up for it if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
We can still finish top of the group if we don't win the first game, you know what I mean? So
that's why, striker has to be also up there in priorities. But yeah, at the moment it's gone very quiet. You know, we've got tomorrow's the deadline. The only serious player now, Maribo, that's dead. Adama Traore, that doesn't look like it's happening. The only guy linked to at the moment is Emerson. That looks like as well. Apparently set to stay at Barcelona, I'm reading. So, which we'll get into later. So, I mean, in terms of the transfer window, doesn't look like it's going to be the ending we would hope. And I'm also thinking as well, the fact that we've won 3-0 3 times in a row, Levy's got an excuse to say, oh, look how... sorry, 1-0 3 times in a row.
3-0.
Not 3-0. It's because we won the worst first 3 games. Levy's got an excuse to say, oh, look, we're top of the league. Why do I need to spend big money? Or why do I need to spend on this squad? Look, our squad's so good. We're all 3 wins out of 3. And that's what I'm worried about. I don't think... It's not going to affect us now. It'll affect us down the line.
Yeah, definitely. Super chat here from the Lion Sam, and he says, we must remember it's early days in Operation Nuno. He's already got 15% more out of the players, laying the foundations first. And that's absolutely spot on, isn't it? That's absolutely spot on, because the foundations are being laid. I mean, it's sometimes we forget, like, we're so early in a new tenure with Nuno. 3 games in, and we've got 3 wins in a row. Apparently the first time that's happened since Arthur Rowe.
Yeah, no, without conceding, because we won the season we got Champions League final. We won our first 3 games.
Sorry, I meant without conceding.
Yeah, that's really positive, really positive. And I think, and you got to commend Nuno what he's done in such a short space of time. How he's got us, you know, the big differences he's got us playing in that pressing system so early on is really, really encouraging and impressive. But he's got we have to build on that, obviously. Yeah. And I guess, look, hopefully, we keep saying, I guess we've said this previously, but if we can integrate Lo Celso and Ndombele, or one of those two, as the season progresses into the side, then I think the balance could be really strong in terms of the adding some creativity in there as well.